Love. I gotta rip off some paper because today, I'm telling you right now, I had every intention of recording and doing some other work, but I kept getting the nudge to go live and give this message. So here we are live giving this message. Let me tell you something right now. Well, before I do, I hope that everybody's having a great day, right? Yesterday for me specifically was weird. What was supposed to be like I had a plan, okay? Had an entire plan of how my day was gonna go. I visualized it. I was in it, okay? And let me just say that, let's say if I had like five things on my list of things to do, or how my day was gonna go, like I had five clear ways that my day was gonna go. Um, it did not, okay? I probably got one of those five things done, right? And it was weird at first. It was genuinely like a, "What is going on?" The energy felt weird. I woke up to some interesting messages. It was just like not a normal morning. Even when and even through the not normal, I still had to like keep up with my routine, stay on task as much as possible, and be as high vibrational as I could possibly be. But no matter what I did, whether I prayed, whether I meditated, whether I, pushed, whatever it is that I did or tried to do, I still ended up in a position of like shit still felt weird. It just wasn't right. Like I even went for a run and usually like I have this route that I'll take and I can run the entire route. This time I couldn't. It's like I was out of breath way earlier than I was used to. It was harder to run. It actually felt quite dense. The energy felt so dense. It's almost like my body shut down before I could even get to the end of the path, the end of the route, right? And so for me, I was like, well, this is weird. This is not how I pictured today going, especially because the stuff that I was going to do, the stuff that I had plans to do, I felt great about. Like I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is like beautiful. This is amazing. Let's go. Let's make it happen." Right. And so I kept asking God, I was like, what's going on? Why do I feel out of alignment? What's happening right now? Why are things so difficult? Or whatever the case is. And towards the end of the night, this clear message came out, which was acceptance. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Mind you, yesterday I had some things planned to do, but I woke up with the craziest headache. Like when I tell you, like I've had headaches before, I've had migraines before, but this was like next level. It's like anything I did, my head was going batshit. Like it was actually kind of crazy. I woke up like, what's going on? I tried to drink water. I tried to meditate. I tried to visualize, a nice violet light kind of cleansing the energy. I called on Archangel Raphael. I did everything. I even checked in on the energy. I was like, what is going on? Why does my head hurt so much? And it did not stop hurting until literally the end of the night. And at the end of the night, I got this very clear message which was acceptance. Acceptance is key. And so that's what we're going to talk about today because I woke up this morning with this like dire need to come on here and talk to y'all about acceptance because I feel like on a collective level, I'm not the only one that has plans that aren't necessarily going as planned, right? And so I feel like everybody can benefit from this very clear message that I got from my divine team, period. Okay. So acceptance is such an interesting and tricky little word and tricky little situation because a lot of the things that we're being guided to accept are also the things that we don't want in our lives. At least we think we don't want them. Okay. And so, one thing that was coming off very, very clear, hello, hello. One thing that was coming off very, very clear is whatever it is that you're currently going through, that you're trying to get out of, that you're trying to move past, that you're trying to get to the other side of, it requires a level of acceptance. And here's the thing about acceptance acceptance isn't necessarily like you looking at the situation and then deciding for yourself that, oh, I'm just going to accept it for what it is and I'm going to give up and that's that on it. That's not acceptance. That's giving up, right? That's surrendering and giving up. But there is this other part to surrendering that is necessary. for your situation in order for you to move out of it faster, quicker, in order for you to manifest what it is that you want. And the acceptance part of it is actually taking away what it is that you think is supposed to be happening at this time and actually really focusing on what's taking place and what it's teaching you, helping you through, and helping you do. Hi, Eric. Hello, hello. What is your name? My name's Briana. Right? So it's one of those things where when we accept the situation for exactly what it is, not for what it was supposed to be, not living in the past, connecting it to what it was in the past. So, when we like go through something, like, oh my God, why do I always go through this? That is connecting it back to the past. Or when we do something that's very like, I don't know, we do something and it doesn't necessarily go the way that we want it to go, we then connect it to our ego's timing and our ego's way of seeing things or how it is that we want it, right? And the very clear message that I keep getting is when you accept your situation for exactly what it is, right here, right now, that is when you'll be able to move through it. That is when you'll be able to get to the other side of it. And I have actually seen this happen in my life way too many times, like a bunch of times. The acceptance of it all is the thing that literally pushes you forward and gets you to the other side. But a lot of times, what happens is we'll go through something or be going through something in the moment, and then we are fighting it. So now it's just a bunch of opposing energies fighting, and there's no actual movement. We're just fighting it and fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. We're trying to do what we think we're supposed to do. We're trying to fit a mold that maybe not, may not fit. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where the divine is trying to get us to understand that the current situation that we're in is literally imperative. It's so important to where it is that you're trying to go. And the moment you accept it for what it is, that is when you'll be able to move past it. So let's talk about what accepting it actually looks like. So, for example, I'll give you an example of my own life, right? When I was going through the homeless journey, so I was homeless for a while. When I was going through that, I was fighting every moment of it. And when I say every moment, I mean every moment. I was fighting to get inside. I was fighting to eat. I was fighting everything. I was like, I don't deserve this. This ain't right. I was pushing, I was doing everything in my power to make things happen because for me, I needed to get out of the situation. And the only way to get out of the situation was to fight. Yet I would find myself kind of find like temporary solutions, but never actually fully get out of the situation. It's like I would get out for a little bit and then I come right back into it. Right. And getting out just means like I would have enough to go to a hotel and stay there for a little while or have like a solid few, weeks or days of staying at a hotel and then back in the streets because I have no money, whatever the case may be. And I got to a place of really like I went through the whole thing, sleeping on a friend's couch, living with someone that I didn't know, doing all of the things. Like I fought it in every possible way. I did everything that I need to do because that's what we're told to do, right? It's like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, when you're going through something or you're experiencing something you don't like, you fight to get out of it. Like that is what we learn. You hustle, you bustle, you do what you got to do to get to the other side, to make something happen. That's how I learned life. That's how I knew to go about things. I understood that in order for me to survive, I have to fight. I have to hustle. I have to make things happen because things weren't handed to me. Anything that I ever had in my life, all success that I've ever had in my life, it was literally always with me having to push and put so much effort and so much energy into. I had to teach myself, I had to make things happen, right? So it really was something that has been ingrained in me and like I've sat with and I've like pushed through for such a long time. So in that journey, that's all I knew to do is just fight and fight and fight. And then I had my moments of like, like a lot of moments of just anger and just being so sad and just being like, why is this my life? Why am I doing this way? Why is this happening to me? And it got to a place where I got out of the situation. Things were looking up. I started moving forward, or whatever the case is. And then I got back right into the situation again. And this is where everything changed for me. Instead of fighting it, instead of trying to, what's it called? Get out of it so hard, I accepted it. I accepted it without quitting. right? Because there was a point in time where I accepted my situation and I straight up quit. Like I was literally like sitting at the airport like this. Like I was just so down, so out. I was just like, you know what, kill me now. Like it was that kind of energy, right? However, this time around, I accepted it for exactly what it is. And I asked myself this one question. I said, okay, if this is my life for the rest of my life, how am I going to make it the best I ever had? And that right there changed everything for me because it was no longer just accepting it and then just like staying stuck in the idea that it's going to be like this forever. It was accepting it and asking myself, if it were to be like this forever, how would I still live my best life? So without a home, without really understanding how money's going to come in the next day, how was I going to make it the best I could possibly make it? That sense of acceptance actually got me out of the situation, like for good, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Hopefully, God leaves me out of it. But it was that right there, that sense of acceptance, that sense of, okay, let me go about this in a way where it's actually working for me, where I can look at this and say, you know what? If I'm in it, it has something to do with what I want. I manifested this. I asked for this for a reason. There's a reason why I'm going through it. There's a reason why I'm in this situation. I don't have to like it. I don't have to want it, but for some reason, it must be working in my favor because if I'm in it for a reason. And once I was able to see it in that perspective, in that way, everything changed and shifted for me. That's when I really got to say, oh, hold up. I started learning certain things. I started looking at things from a different perspective. I started seeing what the homeless community was even going through in the first place. Because a lot of people who were homeless at the time didn't necessarily look it. They didn't necessarily look like they were living on the streets. They looked like everyday people walking the streets today. And today, as someone who isn't in that journey anymore, I can spot the difference between someone who's going through it and just kind of saving face versus someone who isn't. I understand the difference between someone who's living in their car and someone who is walking the streets every single day. That journey has taught me to have more compassion, to be kinder. It's taught me so much about myself. It's taught me so much about my limits. It's allowed me to not make excuses anymore. The things that I used to make excuses for, the things I used to find hard, I don't find hard anymore. It actually pushed me way past my comfort zone, something that was very difficult for me to do. Like I was very, very much the kind of person that like, if things didn't come easy, I would kind of like back down. I would kind of run away from it because I'm just like, oh my God, like I consider myself to be a very talented person. So a lot of the things that I would try for the first time, I'd actually get it, or like it would happen within the first three tries. And so anything that I would try or do that I didn't necessarily get immediately in my head, oh, okay, it's an issue, right? In my head, yeah, it's a no for me. And I would run away from it, which means I never truly challenged myself. I didn't really like challenges because for me, the validation that I received as a child was in the stuff that I was already good at, not the stuff that I wanted to try. So I didn't really believe in growth and getting better. I believed in you either are good at it or you're not, right? Because when you're not good at something, you get made fun of, you're told not to do it, you're told you'll never be successful. And I believed that. So I didn't really challenge myself to push myself any further. But the journey helped me to really challenge myself. And the things that I am working on today, the projects I'm going after, the business I'm building, it is asking me to challenge myself. So a few years ago, when I was manifesting a certain life, I didn't realize that I was also manifesting the challenges that come with that life. And what I really didn't realize is I wasn't ready for those challenges under no circumstances because I would have run away every single time a challenge came up because I didn't actually know how to deal with them. I was a runner, I was a track star. You hear me? However, after the journey, after going through the thing that I didn't want to go through, but finally accepted it and went through it all in, which means like I was living on the beach, I was outside, didn't do any hotels. Even when money came in through my business, I didn't use it for anything other than food. There was no staying inside, there was no nothing. It was cold, it was uncomfortable. I mean, there was so many different things. And I just decided I'm going to just dive all the way in. I'm going to be curious enough to understand why I'm in this position. And that is the key. When you accept through curiosity, through a level of I'm interested in discovering why this is a part of my story, you get through the situation 10 times faster than if you are consistently trying to figure out why you have to go through it, what happened, why is this your life, when you're constantly in a place of just like fighting it. not fully accepting it for exactly what it is, as it is, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's something that doesn't feel good, even if it's something that feels like, is killing you slowly. When you accept it for what it is, and then you ask yourself the question, if this is my life for the rest of my life, how do I make it the best? How do I make sure I'm living my best life in this situation? That is when the switch will happen. That is when things become different for you, because you're no longer in the position of going after something that you think is supposed to happen that isn't true, nor are you in a position of being stuck in the past. You are now living right here, right now, in the present moment. And that is the biggest issue that we as a whole collective have. We don't know how to live in the present moment. We are consistently running from the present moment. We are always thinking about the future, we are always comparing ourselves to the past. And then we are always in a position of looking at our present moment and trying to figure out how we can make it better, which means we never live in the moment, not truly. And I can't say never because we have our times, we have our moments. But for the most part, we don't live in the present moment enough. And a lot of times, what we're going through, whether we deem it difficult or not, is literally like asking us to live in the present moment, because there's something about this time, something about this situation, something about right now that is directly correlated to what you've done, asked for, or said in the past, and directly correlated to where you are going and want to go. And what I did not realize is, in me manifesting the grand life that I was manifesting for myself, my version of what grand looks like, homelessness was attached to that, because only homelessness could teach me what it is I needed to learn in order for me to have the character, have the energy, have the vibration in order for me to build the life that I'm building now. But as long as I was fighting that journey, I was constantly putting myself in the same loop. I was constantly putting myself out of alignment with what I truly wanted. I was constantly putting myself in a position of not actually having what it is that I deserve. And that alone is what we're consistently doing. And then when we don't get what we want, we start to give up. We start to believe in the worst. And that's the part too. It's the belief. The belief is next level. We start to believe that our life is always going to be this way. We start to believe that we can't move past. We start to believe all of the worst thoughts because we just refuse to accept it for exactly what it is. And you'll be surprised that in accepting it, you're not as unhappy as you think you are. In accepting it, it's not as bad as it may feel it is right now. Because the thing is that things feel the worst, especially when you're comparing. If you're comparing to an old life, or you're comparing to the life you want, or comparing to other people, it is always going to feel the worst, because you're comparing to a fantasy because you've never lived that future really before, not yet. You're comparing it to a version of you that you no longer are, a time that no longer is, or you're comparing it to people, which is such a disservice. So now, because of all of this comparison, you're actually 10 times more unhappy with your situation than if you were just to live in the present moment and fully accept it for what it is today. Because you'll be surprised about how you actually feel about it today. What's your truth today? This was such an important message that I was receiving, because I was like, oh, there's something about what we're all going through, and it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody is going through a thing right now where literally the main thing you're learning, the main thing you need to do in order for you to get through it, in order for you to get to that next chapter, is fully accept where you are. Like, fully. I'm not saying you got to fully like it. I'm not saying you got to fully, decide that this is it forever and this is your dream. No one's telling you to do that. All I'm saying is accept it. Accept the position you're in. Accept the thing that's happening right now. Accept the feelings you're feeling about the thing that's happening right now. Literally accept the present moment. Accept it for exactly what it is at the time that it's happening. And that acceptance will actually allow you to start seeing it for what it is, and what it is that the divine is teaching you through this time. It will actually allow you to move through this time 10 times easier than when you're fighting it and convincing yourself that it's not supposed to be this way. Because the truth is, everything you go through, everything you experience, It's supposed to be this way. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience it. There are a whole lot of things in this world, a whole lot of people in this world that you will never meet, you will never experience because you're not meant to. So when we do experience certain things, there is always, always, always a reason. And I'm not saying that the reason is easy, nor is it comfortable, but there is a reason. And if we keep fighting it, then we can never actually learn or understand the reason. And if we can never learn or understand the reason, then we're going to keep experiencing the thing until we allow ourselves to learn it. And the only way to allow yourself to learn it is to accept it. Do you see what I'm saying? Let me give you an example. That's like literally, let's take school for example. That's like moving on to high school, but being stuck in how easy middle school was because high school got a little harder, right? But then also feeling so annoyed that you're not in college yet. So you're thinking about how easy it was in the past when you were in middle school. You're annoyed that you're not in college yet, instead of accepting exactly what high school is giving you. Instead of looking at high school for exactly what it is. Okay, this subject is difficult. This subject is difficult. I have no idea what I'm doing in this subject. I feel dumb when I go to this class. I'm not making all the friends in the world, and I wish that I was. When you get to accept it and all the feelings intact, that is when you can start to find solutions. And not just like temporary solutions, but actual solutions, like actually solve whatever problems are showing up. If you feel like a subject is difficult for you can be in the present moment, admit to yourself this is difficult, admit to yourself how much you feel dumb about it or you just don't like the feeling with it, and you can tackle that head on. You can understand, oh, the reason why I'm not doing what it is that I should be doing, or the reason why I'm not moving in the way that I want to move is because I don't want to feel dumb. So now that I can overcome me feeling dumb, I can realize, okay, well, if I get a tutor, that's going to help me. So now you're open to the help. You're actually open to the tools the universe is providing you within this time instead of being stuck in the past, middle school, or being stuck in the future that hasn't happened yet, college. Something that you think you're going to do, but you have no idea. You don't know which college you're going to. You don't even know if you're going to go to college. You have no clue. It doesn't exist yet. And it can't exist until you go through high school, until you go through this moment, this time, right here, right now. I hope that makes sense. I really do. Because I'm telling you right now, this is the key. Anything you're going through, no matter how difficult, no matter how tough, no matter what it is, literally it is asking you to accept this time. And after you accept the time, ask yourself if this was my life forever, if this is the only way that I'll ever be able to live, how am I going to make it my best life yet? So if you're struggling with money, let's say you'll never make money again. How are you going to make it your best life yet? How are you going to make it so that you are still happy, you are still eating, you are still moving, you are still doing what you need to do? How do you allow this time to be good for you? At the same time, how do you solve that problem? When you get so clear with yourself, oh, okay, I'm not making money, but I do have fears of being rich. I do have fears of success. There are a lot of ideas that I have in my head that I'm just not going towards because I don't believe in myself. I do have self worth issues. I do have insecurities, right? When you accept it for what it is in this present moment, you start to realize the issues that come with it. You start to actually say it out loud, actually be vulnerable about it. And then, pow, you start finding solutions to this issue. You start finding solutions to the problem itself because you're actually being honest with yourself about the fact that there is a problem. This is the key, y'all. Acceptance is the key. You can't do anything about this time if you don't accept this time for exactly what it is. If you don't stop comparing this time to the past or the future. This time right here is the gateway. What you're going through right now, it is the gateway for where you want to be. It don't have to make sense to you. It don't have to feel good to you. It don't have to be good to you. But it is happening for a very specific reason. And you will never know that reason until you fully accept it, until you fully dive in, until you fully say, you know what, I'm not sure why it's me, but let's do this. Let me challenge myself to go through it and be in it and actually experience it for fully what it is. Let me be real with myself, mind, body, and soul. Let me feel the feelings through this time, but also accept it for what it is, because it is the lack of acceptance that keeps you in a spiral and keeps you thinking something is wrong. And as long as you're thinking something is wrong, you're believing it. And as long as you're believing it, then that's what your brain starts to know. Your brain starts to know that this time right now is wrong. So now you're operating from that space. So now, even when things want to go right, even when there's an opportunity in front of you, even when you could be fixing, healing, changing the problem to a solution, you're not. Because as long as you believe something is wrong, you will consistently see how wrong it is, which means your mind is not on solutions. Your mind is strictly on problems. And if your mind is strictly on problems, well, boo bop, sugar pie, honey bun, you're always gonna find a problem. You're always gonna experience the problem. So this is such an important message. And it's something that I want to talk more about. So I may come on tomorrow too to kind of go even further into this. But acceptance is key, guys. Acceptance is key. The quicker you accept it, the quicker you get out of it, the quicker you understand it, the quicker you can actually move through it instead of fighting it, instead of pushing yourself to believe that this isn't how it's supposed to be. If it wasn't supposed to be this way, it wouldn't be. If it wasn't supposed to be this way, it would not be, but it is. And until you can fully accept that truth, you're going to keep experiencing the cycle consistently. And it's not just experiencing the cycle, but you're going to experience the cycle and it's going to hurt every time. It's going to hurt every time, because that's the thing. We're always going to experience certain cycles again and again. But usually we experience it as our newer selves and it's supposed to get easier. But when it hurts the same every single time, there's something you're not learning, something you're not accepting about your life, something about your life, whether it be karma, whether it be just what you're manifesting, what you're asking for, your belief system. There's a reason why what you're going through is what you're going through. There's a reason why you're in this position. You're not being picked on. You were chosen to experience this exact experience. And you know who chose it? You did. You chose it. You understood what you needed for your soul's growth. So you chose it. One choice led to another choice, which led to another choice, which led to another choice. And it all brought you here. Accept full responsibility. Accept that this is a choice. Accept that this right here, right now, is benefiting you one way or another, no matter how dire. And I get it. I've been through some dire things, from physical hurt to spiritual attacks. I get it. There's a lot of things out there that you're like, there's no way I'm supposed to be going through this. There is a reason why. And when you accept that you are going through it and that you're meant to go through it and that you're meant to move through it and get out of it, your life shifts, and it shifts spectacularly. So that's what I have for you. Hopefully that makes sense. It's time to accept, because it's time to accept. Period. And until next time, I'm sending you so much love. Make sure you go check out my last few videos. My last two podcast episodes is all about vulnerability. First, we talk about getting vulnerable and bringing vulnerability to the table. And then the one that I posted like literally just yesterday is about getting vulnerable about intimacy. Even I get a little vulnerable about my experiences with intimacy, which we'll probably get into a little later too. But make sure you go check those out. And I just recently posted about lack mindset, talking about this exact thing. Okay. So make sure you're checking out these videos too, because I'm going to consistently talk about these things, but I'm definitely going to be going live a lot more often so that we can get into this stuff and we can actually, like, the messages I'm receiving and the things that are coming through. I want to make sure I'm getting it to you, because the way I was told get on live, it was next level. It was like, if you don't do it, Brianna. And I was like, okay, okay, I got you. I got you. So we're here and we're going to keep talking about acceptance, but that is the key. Accept, accept, accept. And until next time. Did I say next time? Did I say next time? Why did I say next time? Until next time, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.